Good morning and welcome. I am Usha Ramanujam, Chair of the Internationalization Committee at PCC, and I also teach business classes at the Rock Creek campus. The mission of the Internationalization Committee is to promote awareness on global perspectives and practices, and also increase global cultural awareness. Many of you here are currently in International 201, Introduction to International Studies. This is a course that has been brought at PCC through internationalization efforts. We know that Portland and PCC have a lot of international connection. And anything in addition that can be added towards international flair actually interests us and intrigues us. This in turn helps us to be aware of the diversity that is all around us and also promotes us to become more inclusive. Today we have a perfect opportunity for that. We have with us an economist, Fulbright Scholar, and a speaker from an international background, Dr. Wana Praigwang from Thailand. Her speeches at Cascade campus and the third one here today are made possible through the Internationalization Committee and also through the Fulbright Scholar Outreach Fund. This outreach fund helps to bring scholars from different backgrounds, and they are here to share with us their research interests, something about their home country, and also to promote dialogue about their interests and other various topics. To introduce Dr. Wana, we have an in-house expert with us today, Dr. Joel Magnuson, an economist. He teaches economics at PCC Rock Creek campus. Joel also has published many books and also has many articles, not only in the US, but also in Europe and in Japan. Some of his books are Mindful Economics, The Approaching Great Transformation Towards a Livable Post-Carbon Economy, and the most recent one, which is keeping him really busy now with lectures around the country. This is From Greed to Well-Being, a Buddhist approach to resolving our economic and financial crisis. Joel and Dr. Wana have worked together before, and I would like to present to you Dr. Joel Magnuson, and again, welcome this morning.
Thank you all, and thank you for coming here today. So as Usha just mentioned, the talk that you're going to be hearing today is on Buddhist economics. And as I was preparing to give this introduction, it made me think of a story. And the story is about a conversation among a priest, an architect, and an economist. And they were debating among themselves as to whose profession historically is actually the oldest. And so the priest started in and he said, well, my subject matter is God, and God created the entire universe out of chaos. So you really can't go back historically much further than that, so obviously my discipline is the oldest. So then the architect steps in and he says, well, now wait a minute. you said that God created the universe out of chaos. Now, to me, that's creating a structure, and that's architecture, so clearly my profession is deal with this. So then the economist jumps in and he says, yeah, but who created all that chaos in the first place? We did that. So out of this chaos then emerged this very small and lively subdiscipline that we call Buddhist economics. And for many of us, the introduction to this approach to economics originated with the reading of E.F. Schumacher's classic Small is Beautiful, which also contained an essay simply titled Buddhist Economics. Schumacher was inspired to write this after spending some time in Burma as an advisor to the Burmese government on behalf of Great Britain. He saw that for people in Burma and Thailand and Asia and other parts of East Asia, that a Buddhist approach to economics is an integral part of ancient spiritual and cultural traditions. But he also concluded that regardless of our spiritual practice, our belief systems, East or West, he also concluded that what we need to do, all of us, is to some level of re-examination of our habits of thought and habits of economic behavior. And today, we might even say that this re-examination is becoming very necessary or even exigent. This path of inquiry, initiated by Schumacher, led to an important conference in 2007 held in Budapest, Hungary. It was called the Buddhist Economics Research Platform, and it was sponsored by Corvinus University there. And at this conference, people from all over the world, Asia, Europe, North America, Australia, came together to share some common ideas and also to share some ideas about this process of re-examination, our habits of thought and habits of behavior. I attended this conference, and it was there that I first met Dr. Juana Prayutbong. And it was, about 3 days. It was very warm in Budapest. It was in August, and it was a very, very intellectually stimulating experience for me. And I was particularly impressed with Dr. Prayutbong's work on social entrepreneurship, Buddhist-inspired social entrepreneurship, in which, and I think she's going to talk about that today, in which she examines business models as not just models that aspire to achieve positive social change, but in fact business models that are intrinsically agents of positive social change. So with that, it's a tremendous honor and pleasure for me to introduce her today. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Juana Prayutbong.
Thank you very much for nice introduction from Dr. Joe Manson, my good friends. In Buddhism, we call the friends to support us to have a practice as a good friends. And I don't have only Dr. Joe Manson as a good friend. I also have PCC, Professor Usha Manujan, and her colleagues as a good friend. To inviting me here, I feel very honored and have a chance to talk with you today. Actually, I told Joe that he should run this talk, not me. Because he wrote 3 books about Buddhist economics. But for me, 0. I only like my dissertation and a few papers, international, public, international. But anyway, thank you so much for coming to have a chance. For me, it's a part of learning, the learning process that we share with you. Let me share with you the about Buddhist economy. But because this room is quite big for me, and I don't have a chance to know all of you in detail, and feel I don't want to miss this kind of great opportunity to know you more. Then let me start with this talk with a question that I would like to give it to you. My question, and I would like you to play with me to answer or to think about what your answer of this question. My question starts with a very simple hypothetical question. It starts with, if someone gives you a billion US dollar at a place far away, no one there. So it means you and $1 billion US alone. Don't try to cheat. Just take the money and come back. No way. And no internet access. Would you accept or reject it? Please raise your hand if you accept it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very interesting. Please raise your hand if you reject it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Thank you. I'm a little bit excited because this is the first time that not only you have some camera just watch over me. You can see the number of people who reject is more than the number of people who accept it. Why?
They're suspicious.
But the reason that some of them you reject it, I guess that one of the reasons that you are not able to use that money, right? Money alone are not able, they don't become worthless because of you cannot exchange to the products and goods. And some of you will think, oh, to stay alone is no relationship, no friend, no people. And the concept of relationship is the origin of the society. So today, before I go further to that question, and let you stop that question for a while, and I would like to just give you some idea of economics as Professor Joe already tell you. But I would like to review the content of it, just to draw you have a kind of dialogue to talk more about Buddhist economy and talking about social entrepreneurship and the case study of Siam here. Let me start with, actually the definition of economic, they have many definitions because of, as you say, that nowadays the future have changed the platform and have many problems come. So the definition of economic change also. Let me give you one. Economic is the science which study of how to allocate scarce resources. Let me review the scarce resources. It starts from land, capital, include all of us labor in terms of skill or non-skill or human capital, and include natural resources and everything. And economics agree that know that is a scarce, is limited. They try to allocate that kind of resources to economic transaction, economic activity, which I watch. First is, as you say, that you come today, you come to produce yourself, to change yourself, to become skilled people, to intellectual people, to have more opportunity, to have more job, good job, better job in the future, in the near future. That kind of production. And then before production, when you wake up, you start consumption, consume everything. So it is a kind of consumption. And to bring producer and consumer together is a kind of distribution. So economic activity have only three kinds: consumption, production, and distribution. When you try to allocate the resources to do this, any kind of activity, we have a choices. Then the choice, in each choice you to pursue the goal. Either you are the producer or consumer. Producer, when they produce something, they expect to receive profit. And at the opposite, the consumer, when they want to have something, they prefer to have a satisfaction. That is a concept of economy. But anyway, in terms of macroeconomic, we're talking about the aggregate. The aggregate in the sense of the meaning of society. So mean what? Mean any one of you. I really like the example this morning that I gave you to the talk, my previous talk, that if we assume that this is a country, so it means what? If all of you are poor, and only me are billionaire, so this country become what? Become developing country. But if I change my citizenship to another, or let all of you become poor, you become underdeveloping country. So it means it calculates the number. So it becomes 1 plus 1 equal 2. This is a mathematics, really easy mathematics. However, the transaction in economic, it comes with started price as a trigger. So it means when the price is up, draw the attention of the producer come. When the price is down, what happens? The consumer would like to buy. They meet each other in the market. Market as a place, the people to meet in terms of competition. They try to compete with each other. And then when the transactions happen, the product, they have a reward in terms of the producer have a profit, as I mentioned earlier, and the consumer has a satisfaction. However, each transaction not happen very easy. They have a cost. What cost in each transaction is? Yes, information. I remember that when I first arrived here, the student in my host university asked me that, Ajahn Vanna, Professor Vanna, you know what? This restaurant is really good. How do you know that? It's from Yale, from Google. So that kind of information that will provide for you, but can you trust that? Can you trust that information? However, when that kind of information that is not reliable or something, but sometimes it's not easy to find that information. And the other thing that when the price is from the consumer and the producer is not meet each other in terms of not balancing, they will have a chance, the problem of the market failure, and the government come to help. I think all of you have already know what is Buddhism, right? Show me your hand if you know what the Buddhism is. Okay. Let me just quick, so tell you a little bit more about what is the Buddhism. Buddhism is a religion that talking about the concept of mind, and in terms of the teaching of the Buddha. Buddha is an ancient Indian princess who was born 2,600 years ago. Nowadays, Indian government promote his birth, his place as a spiritual tourism. We start with his birthplace in Lumpini, Nepal. His first enlightenment place in Bodh Gaya, and his first teaching place in Kusinara, in Saranath. And today is a very important day because today we celebrate his first enlightenment. His enlightenment era we call Vesakha Day. And the last place is called his Nirvana or dying place on Kusinara. So when we try to integrate the Buddhism into economics, in the concept that we try to integrate the Buddhist concept of mind with the intellectual approach of economics. And then you follow that definition that I mentioned earlier to allocate resources. And try to, we agree that we have choice. However, you can see that when we try to integrate the concept of mind in Buddhism, we change from transaction to be transformation. And then The way that we achieve instead of your individual goal, we can try to combine the social tranquility. It's a kind of social well-being. But the concept of tranquility is not a kind of fixed state. We have a kind of development in terms of the good well-being in the state of well-being. Let me tell you a little bit more of the concept of mind. In Buddhism, can you see mind? Can you see mind? Can you see your mind? But you know it exists, right?
Are we talking physical or spiritual?
Oh, very interesting. Let me ask you another question. Can you see electricity? Can you see electricity? You cannot see it, but you know it. Is it right? And you know how to use it. It's the same, similar as the mind. You cannot see it. You can sense it. You can perceive it. And you can process your thought. And you form your consciousness. So we have a similar, we call subconscious, normal consciousness, and super consciousness. That is a aggregate form of the mind in Buddhism. However, we don't have mind alone. We have a close friends of mine. We call mental poison. And in your book, you use this, the concept of Buddhism we call fire. Fire is the three fire in the sense of mental poison. Let me tell you a little bit more of this about in terms of when we're talking about Buddhist economy. We change when we use its translation to be transformed, and in terms of the macroeconomy, we change from aggregation to be association, in the sense of each member of society, member of the society share the same goal and help each other. By that way, the whole will be greater from its part. 1 plus 1 will be more than 2. And let me tell you later about how the greater will be, the whole will be greater from its part. Let me come back with the mind and their friend. Actually, it's not a friend. It's come together, mental poison. I prefer to make a metaphor with like of the mind as a light from the flashlight. The mental poison is from, there are 3 kinds. First, greed. Second, hatred. The third one is delusion. Very easy to explain what greed is. Anything that you feel, you want to hold it. Excuse me? Okay. Greed is something that you like. Then if you like it much, you want to hold it. And the hatred, occasion is something that you want to push it out, dislike. And something that you are not able to understand what it is, but you still hang in there. Don't want to move anywhere. But don't know what it is. It's a kind of delusion. So I compare the metaphor, I compare the mental poison as a dust to cover the mirror of the flashlight. What happens when you have a lot of dust covered into the flashlight? What happens when you have a dust cover? We have dust to cover the flashlight, the mirror of the flashlight. Yes, the light cannot transmit from the, even though there are a lot of battery, right? It's a similar act in your mind. Have mental poison, you attach with that. You attach with your greed into your sense, into your perception, into your process of thought, into your consciousness. However, you do not aware that. When you look at anything, it's not a kind of the flashlight with covered by the dust. You cannot use the power of mind, efficiency. Mm-hmm. So, when we try to integrate the concept of mind into the Buddhist economy, we try to address what happened in terms of the human nature. In economics model, they assume human nature is a self-interest and actor has only a single facet. What this means that you understand the single interest, but in the sense that if you assume that for the single self-interest is a kind of that you accept the first mental poison already, right? The greed. You accept that greed is in Joe book, and there has a principle in business that the greed is good. They accept it. Economic accept that greed is good, but nowadays they come to address it's not a kind of greed that they accept. Anyway, they accept this and the actor as a single facet. What the single facets mean? The single facets mean that when you are a producer, your role is deliver the product to the consumer. It's only one role. But for human being, it's not only a seller or producer. Something like you are not only a student. You are what? You are the daughter or the son of your parent. You are the member of society. You are the member of club or community. And beside that, you are the future of our generation to bring high hope to human beings. So we have, all of us take multi-facets role, but in economic model have only single facets. However, in Buddhist economics, self is not separable, but interconnected. Because we share what? We share the same. All of us have mental poison. All of us share the same suffering. Right? What's the first suffering that we share? We share the same suffering, is a common suffering, and Buddha already mentioned very clearly that the first suffering that we share, we born. When the pregnant mother have a baby inside of her tongue, that she worry about what happened with her baby. And then we share another common suffering is on aging and dying and sickness. We cannot avoid that kind of suffering. So we interconnected in terms of all of us have mental poison. It's not only you have or I don't have. All of us have it. But a chance to reflect that kind of mental poison, it will be very limited. Sometimes we forgot it. So Buddhist economics does not assume either self-interest or moral sentiment in the sense that you are a kind of good guy, want to donate everything for everyone. No, not at all. We have mental poison. So when we look at in the Buddhist economic model, we're talking about holistic model, not only in terms of economics, factor or social. We take all the whole. And then for variable in terms of actor, we take multifacets role. So in the sense of interconnected selves, we have a concept in the Buddhism called interdependence. It's a core Buddhist teaching for using its economic system. However, interdependence in Buddhism is not only for you and me. It's extended to the our being and the creation. By that way, Buddhist economic will measure everything. Not only the money you spend, but the cost that you see or did not see, implicit and explicit, include in externality. And there are the similar concept of ecological footprints. And by that way, instead of using the market mechanism or price alone, we think about to have community mechanism. Like I'm so glad that yesterday I have a good time with Professor Usha Manujan. She took me to visit farmer market at Portland City. Could you please tell me a little bit about the essence of farmer market here? What is the essence of the farmer market here? Do they trigger with the price? The reason that you come because of that product is very cheap.
Fresh product.
Fresh product. And yes, local. Because you want to support the local farmer. You know what? One of the vendors who grow flower, she is Hmong refugee. Her husband is Thai people, and I had to learn, study more. And she told me that she can survive and set up her family. She can take care of her egg children. Couldn't believe that. All of them born here. Wow, egg children. By selling her product in farmer market alone. She sells 3 days a week. Only 8 months a year. Can you imagine that? You take care of one family to take care, and the other family can take care of the other. So this is the poverty mechanism. But however, that kind of market mechanism is not every city have, like, not every town. It's not play a dominant role. We still have to have more, not only Portland City. And in this sense, individual and community goal will merge together and to promote the well-being for all. How, as I told you that interdependence concept is not a kind of concept that you can understand and can read from the book. And the way that you try to dilute or reduce your mental poison is not easy. So in Buddhism, we call threefold training. In the Bali word, we call Sikha. Tri is three, and Sikha is mean practice. So we have threefold training, threefold paths. It starts with ethic. The meaning of ethic in Buddhism is not the same as Western concept in terms of right or wrong. But we use the concept ethic. Sila is in the sense of skillful action. What does skillful action mean? Skillful is start with you don't harm anyone, any animal, you include the natural. This is why in Thailand or any place, any country in the Buddhism, we have a kind of the ordain the tree. We ordain the tree and then make the tree become a spiritual tree. You cannot cut a tree. So skillful action is include not only, you have not harm even yourself. Most of my students at home don't understand about how to practice, and sometimes that they harm themselves without knowing that. Such as tomorrow you have an exam. What happened? If tomorrow you have an exam, what happened? What happened for tonight? You study, read the book from evening until dawn, right? Until the morning to go to the exam room. So that kind of thing is a way that you harm yourself. So it will be violate sila or skillful action too. And the second one is called meditation that we have an experience at the end of my talk. In the sense of samadhi in Bali language, that is the state of clean mind and calm mind. For the way that I have told you that the power of mind, you have to strengthen your mind. When you try to strengthen your body, what shall you do? You have to exercise to move around, right? But the way that you strengthen your mind, you have to think about something else. You have to come back to stillness. Because of what? Because of the mental poison is similar as a kind of the dust in the water. Then you should let the water to still, and the dust will fall down. So the way that we try to clean the mind will be a kind of you have a chance to reflect yourself, meditation. And the third one is the concept of Buddhism is, as I told you, that is holistic. Then the way that we practice it become like the set of practice, not only a single one. From skillful action, you have a chance to reflect and meditate in your daily life, the more that you have skillful action, the more you reflect and meditation, you will have more understanding or wisdom or panya in Bali language. To understand the interdependence and have a chance to reflect your mental poison, reduce it. However, the Buddhist practice is not only individual. It's only, we need a social environment to embrace us to practice Buddhism more and more. However, the social environment to help us is include first thing that physical environment, a kind of, I really like the way that you have in Portland to have more green, then you can have a kind of calm mind, don't feel, and then green color will help you to relax, to more relax, to have more relax or something. And then we start with physical environment, and we have rule and law, culture and norm. Something like all the kids to go here have an experience to be a volunteer, to know that the community will help each other, and include it about training. As I told you that when I arrived here in the mid of January, besides hearing about Yale, the second day I watched the news, and I made me so sick on that kind of news, because of that news said in the PBS news said that the largest loan in the United States is mortgage or housing loan. Can you imagine what is the second largest loan in the United States?
Student loan?
Yes, student loan or educational loan. It's something like 7 trillion or 8 trillion US dollar. Couldn't believe that. So it means that the training, education is a part of training. It's very expensive in the United States. But I don't know about, if education is only a translation, it will be a sad story. And then we hope like a PCC offer a very reasonable and not more expensive choice for you to have a kind of education and to have a transformation. And then I'm sure that the more that I have a chance to talk with the professor here, PCC have a good heart professor, teacher to provide you education. Like a lady that picked me up this morning, she tried to help PCC to give you a chance to study abroad. The learning is not only in the classroom or listen or talk. The learning will become an experience and practice. A chance to study abroad, a chance to travel, it will be more important too. As I mentioned to you already about community mechanisms, is also included in the social environment. Besides farmer market, in terms of the transaction between vendor, consumer and producer to transform their kind of mental poison, we still have another kind of community mechanism such as cooperative. Nowadays, they have a kind of social enterprise to support, to be add-on in terms of the market mechanism, such as, have you ever heard the Greystone Bakery? Or the product that, but it's not, for me, it's not a good example for the social enterprise, but anyway, it has give you some idea about Tom Chu. The product is, some of them you have the kind of, have some the other idea. When you buy a product, it means the other they will help people in the South Africa, something like that. So, when you have a kind of either consumption, production, or distribution, you will have a chance to transform your mental poison. Not only you, for the other. And make to have understand the interdependence. Before, I understand that I give you some aspect and maybe you will fall some part. And then let me tell you about the story of the company in Thailand. Is who applied the Buddhist economics. Maybe you have learned from that story, and then sometimes you have some inspiration. Siam Hand is a company who produce and sells garment or t-shirt or even a kind of the clothes industry under the brand name of Tangmo, so a piece of watermelon. You can see from their logo. They said Tangmo ความรู้สึกดีๆที่มีต่อกัน let me translate into English that watermelon are positive feeling that we have with each other. So that is the pursuit, that to bring the good quality product and to have a consumer to have the positive feeling. The owner of the Siam Hands is a couple. Both of them are the students from 1980. That year is a crucial year in Thailand because of the student activists in that year bring our Thailand to have democracy. And then they play a very proactive role, not only study, but to help people. And both of them practice Buddhism since childhood. While they were a student, they also earn a living by doing some entrepreneurial business to support themselves. Since they graduate, they try to selling t-shirts, and then they are able to build a factory. Nowadays, they have 300 employees inside of this factory. When they build a factory, they build a big factory beside the beautiful river in the suburb of Bangkok, and they also have a beautiful garden. They also, inside of the factory, there is an air condition. In Thailand, we have only 2 seasons. Can you imagine that? The first season is hot, the second season is hotter. So air condition is really, for the factory, most of the workers are very hot because of the air condition of the working condition in the factory very hot. But in the working office, you can see when you travel in Bangkok, please go to the business area. You can see that many white collar wear a jacket. I don't understand why they wear a jacket, because of what inside of the office really cold. But I'm sure that you prefer cold better than hot. Besides to provide a beautiful factory in the beautiful garden, they also have dormitory for the employee, and they provide free 3 meals a day, include weekend. In the production team, you can see from the picture that each employee can see the beautiful garden from the glass wall. So you can see that the worker will work together as a team. So it means that inside of the factory, 300 employees divided into each group. Each group is a kind of small factory. They work together by themselves. They don't have a kind of division of labor, Adam Smith. So they don't have a cutting division, sewing division, bottom division, packing division. They work together as a team until the beginning of the first step of production line, until the completion. Each unit will take care of that. So by that way, each employee, each team will manage their own time. If they want, like if member of the team want to work more, they can discuss and talk and manage. And if someone has some problem, they can manage and finish their job a little bit early. By that way, can you imagine that this company do this company have to have a rule or regulation to control the employee? No. They don't have a kind of alarm or clock or either the main gate door is always open because it allows people come and go the time they want. However, they still have rule. Siam have only one. I don't think that a single rule is set of rule under the 5 precepts of Buddhism. The 5 precepts of Buddhism is a kind of the way that help us to practice sila, skillful action. Skillful action, the first step of the Threefold training. 5 precepts start with don't harm anything, even yourself, animal, and other creation, and other people. The second one is talking about don't tell a lie, speak polite or light speech. The third one is don't steal. You cannot steal, or you take something that are not your, the thing that is not your belonging. And the fourth one will be sexual conducts. And the fifth is will be you don't be a carelessness by smoking and drinking alcohol. Can you imagine that the employee who disobey this rule 5%, what happened to them? Most of them are male employees. Although the majority of the employees here are women, but most of them are male. Yes, they have, when they disobey this rule, the owner will have some discussion with them. Instead of just kicking them out very easy, let them to have a chance to see what happened. The owner asks them that, what is the reason they come to work? Did they come to smoke or come to drink, or just want to looking for a job to have a money to spend in their life in that way? So the owner, the employer asks the young staff to have to consider themselves and let them to have time. They call a consideration period. So it means similar as layoff, but they accept come back. I have a chance to interview all of them who disobey this law, this rule, and ask them 2 questions. First, where did you do during that time? Second, why did you come back? I'm really surprised that everyone had give me the same answer. Sometimes that I'm a little bit worried that they copy the answer to each other. But I try to change the place to interview. But they give me the same answer. The first answer is when they did not work here, work in Siam Hand, they will have their other job because they don't have money to work, to live, so they have to have another job. In that time, they realized that the other factory do not provide a good working condition like Siam Hand, and made them to come back, and he preferred to work here. As I told you that in 1997, in 1997 in Thailand we have an economic crisis, and that we start with Thailand is the origin of the crisis called Asian crisis. They have another nickname called Tom Yam Gung crisis. Tom Yam Gung is our shrimp hot spicy soup. And then from 1997. We have another crisis called in 2008 here, and they call hamburger crisis. And we have a joke among the economists that if the next crisis happened in China, what do you call? We can call ramen crisis or chow mein crisis. In 1997, the economic crisis, although Siam Han do not have a loan from the outside of the country, but they still have a problem in terms of, for the bank system, have some problem. So it's time for me to stop. Thank you for reminding, because actually I have a problem with the time control. Thank you so much. Anyway, 1997, Siam Han have some problem as well in terms of financial, in terms of cash flow. So they stop selling their product to the big box retailers or department store, and they concentrate their products. They're selling on the shop and the wholesale market. By that way, they have to do their own in terms of promotion, exhibition by themselves. However, with the way that they try to make exhibition, they can make it by themselves because the marketing team is too small. So they ask the employee from production side to stop their work and come to help as a volunteer, but still receive the pay in terms of the average pay. By that way, the employee from production side are able to know about how consumers respond their product. So it's a kind of the thing that we have, either inside of the production, we don't have a kind of division label, but we try to make a holistic that production part can understand about the marketing side as well. Nowadays, they expand their business into the shop as a gas station in the service area. And the reason that they want to expand their business is not because of they want to go bigger, but they want to give a chance for the employee to be the owner. So they encourage the employee who collect some money from the revenue from their wages, just decide to put money into the bank. They encourage their employee to, when they have money, that to buy a piece of land or gold. And then they encourage them to have their own business. So in the concept of Siam Han, it doesn't mean that employee will be their employee forever. When they have money, they should, because of most of our employees who work in the Bangkok or nearby, or in the city around the world, are the migrant or the migrant from the rural area. Like in the United States, most of the unskilled labor is become like a non-documented migrant or something. So this is why they're talking about, they encourage their staff, their employee to have their own business. Besides production and marketing, Siam Han do a lot of things on social and community activity nearby and in the rural area. Many projects. Let me tell you one of the story of them. It's a Muslim project in the sense that in Thailand nowadays, we have a violence in the southern of Thailand because of some Muslim people try to make a very violent there. It become like the economy in the southern part of our Thailand become very, very poor. And then Siam had invited the villager, the Muslim people from the southern village to train, to produce the same product as Siam had, trained by employee. And then when the first group are able to do their job, they go back home to run their business, similar as Siam had in the southern of Thailand, in their village. And they receive the revenue and they are able to make marketing by themselves. Nowadays, this villager, the head of the villager and the factory inside of the villager will be a learning place for the other villager in the southern of Thailand, how to do the business. So sorry. Let me stop the Siam Han story now and ask you about what do you learn from this. First thing, that the concept of interdependence in Siam Han, in the business model. So the way that they process the production is not a way of only transaction between consumer to pay or the employee to receive, come every day to receive the wages. It's a way that to transform them, to have a good life and have a chance to have a Buddhist practice as well. And besides that, they try to associate them as a team, either in production team and the marketing team together, and with the other people outside of the company, to work together to understand interdependence. By that way, the business goal of Siam Hand is not only the profit for the owner, but or either the prestige of the Siam Hand. Siam Hand do not advertise this story. Consumer do not know about the story of the treat employee or anything. Consumer only know the quality of the product. This story is part of my study. But I did not advertise or anything because I don't receive any money from anyone. So I just only a part of my process to learn. And so the business goal for the Siam Hand is they want to bring the quality of life, a meaningful life for all. That's all. That is the story of Siam Hand. I hope that I can give you some idea and about Buddhist economics and from the story of Siam Hand. Thank you, and if you have any question, it's your time.
How about one more round of applause for Dr. Threefold?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have learned so much about the Buddhist economic practices and how it helps the individual and business. At this time, we will open it up for a Q&A, very short time session. She also plans to do a short meditation session along with Dr. Joel Magnuson. So even though it's a small area, we would prefer you ask the questions and use the mic because the event is being taped. Who would like to ask the first question? Okay, it's my turn then. Here is my question. You talked about Sila, ethics. So it's really interesting that it helps the employees, the individual, and then it rises at the business level and then goes to the community level. How does it apply to a small business versus maybe a small business? I think the example you showed is not in a major urban city, right? So think about large businesses like maybe Walmart or someone else who is trying to get a huge market share wherever they are and cost-cutting measures. So is this practice more applicable for family-type business, or how do bigger corporations practice this?
Yes, thank you very much for your question. First of all, that Buddhist practice is start with the individual. So the more important is the leader or CEO, either the owner, have to practice first. It doesn't mean that you point someone out, ask you to do. Months ago, I have a chance to talk with the CEO of Greystone Bakery. It's a social enterprise in New York City, in New York, not in New York City, in the New York State. This company is a makeup brownie for Ben and Jerry. and many kind of cookie. This company is founded by the Zen master. And the CEO is talk very clear that he is a person to have to reflect himself about mental poisoning and to make sure that they take care of the employee. He told me about in Greystone Bakery, he doesn't want people to come to practice anything. The more important is he himself have to practice and let that chance to be the CEO is a chance to practice Buddhism. This is why he come. Very interesting. And the way that he take care of the employee well, they become like some of employees have a kind of the compassion and help each other. They have a concept of open high. Open high concept, it means they can hire everyone. Either you went to jail yesterday, you get out of the jail, you are able to come to work there. As long as they have some job occupant. So the first thing that you have to do is practice. So it means that in terms of, we still have the individual practice, but from your practice, if you are the leader or the CEO, then we start to provide social environment inside of the company to do that. Yes.
Let me get the mic.
Thank you.
Thank you for your visit, for your lecture. In the United States, the majority of people, and definitely people that own large businesses, are more likely to be Christian. They have a Christian perspective. So how do you accommodate their beliefs in, let's say, maximum profit, not because they're Christian, but it's part of the capitalist system, with a system, a Buddhist system, where profit making is important, but so is the quality of life of the employers.
Yes.
How do you accommodate those two seemingly contradictory
Yes,
systems?
yes. I agree with you that many people that I met that talking about Buddhist economy is a kind of oxymoron. It's a kind of contradiction. It's a kind of thing that you try. It's very sweet to talk, very beauty to see, but it's impossible to be happen. Something like that. But anyway, that when we term of profit in the sense of the Buddhist economy, as I mentioned to you, it's not only money alone. We have to incorporate the other multi-facets in terms of, as you mentioned, quality of life, the good condition of work or anything. I'm so glad that because my host university is on business management, so they have a lot of idea that to try to take care of the employee to provide a good condition and the higher pay. But I still wonder that the way that you have a higher pay for the employee is mean that you ask them to work more, ask them to give contribution more because of they want more profit or not. If in that sense, it will go to the same trap, the original trap. So when we're talking about how to apply it, or when you make a corporation, let me make sure, sometimes when I talk too much on Buddhism, make people understand that we try to convert people to be a Buddhism. Not at all. I don't want to convert anything because I'm not a monk or a nun. It's not my job. So the point is, I just only want to let them to understand about you have a kind of tool, a chance for you to reflect, and then a kind of idea that to think about, to reflect something. that happen in your lives and try to help it only a little bit as we can. That's it. So the way that we try to integrate the Buddhist concept, it doesn't mean that you can apply with anything. By that, to try to reflect your mental poison. So I remember that some company have the idea that each morning when they meet each other, the first thing that is not only say hello, good morning. They come to say that, please apologize me when something happened in yesterday. Could you please forgive me? Whatever thing you do, I did yesterday, and let me start fresh. Let me work together as friends, as people to share the same suffering, or something like that. So it means what? It meant bring the company or the business become like understand what the meaning of life. So I'm so glad to hear from Anne this morning that she said that when she just started working at PCC this year, and she said she found that her colleagues are very committed and try to bring a good education, a good environment for the student. So that is a kind of environmental that we have to do. No need to have a kind of any, by that way, you don't mention about any religions. You can be anything you want. But we have to think about the concept, the idea of the meaning or the purpose of working, something like that. Any more questions? Thank you so much. Okay, please. You want one mic?
Thank you. So I have a few questions for you, actually.
Thank you.
The first one is, are there any other businesses using the Buddhist economics business model anywhere else in Thailand, or is Siam Hand the only one?
Oh no. First thing that, let me answer your question and then we can see the next one later. Okay. First thing that Siam Hand is one of my case study in my PhD thesis. I have 3 cases. And the other side, nowadays that Siam Hand is a garment factory. Then Siam Hand will leading kind of the other garment factory, the largest one, try to adopt that model into their factory as well. Not only 3, you still have some more. Okay, what the next question is?
I just want to know, how are they doing internationally? Are they venturing into other marketplaces in other countries, neighboring countries, or is it strictly just Thailand?
Okay. Siam Hand also export their product to the other country. But the way that they export, they treat as a wholesale market. It means what? It means they allow the vendor, they allow the buyer from abroad to purchase their product and to sell by themselves. It's not the concept that Siam Hand opened a branch in every place around the world. No, that kind. This story is very interesting because I witnessed that. Because I witnessed one of the Vietnamese customer who want to be a sole distributor of Siam Hand product in Vietnam. And they come to negotiate. They asked the owner that, could you please give me 25% discount from the price that I receive now, and I will guarantee that I will purchase the order 1 million t-shirt now, but give you this 25% discount. Can you imagine the answer of the owner? No, he refused. He denied his offer. And he told them that my customer, the wholesale customer, who purchased 100 items, and the other one who purchased 1 million, what the difference? What a difference between wholesale seller, buyer to buy 101 million. They are the same people, right? Human beings. So they have a fixed price, either 100 or 1 million. So this is a concept of Siam Hand.
I just have one last question.
Please.
Okay. So you mentioned that the working environment at Siam Hands is par none the best. People want to work there based upon the environment and how they're treated. So my question is, what is their payment like in comparison to the rest of the market in Thailand? Are they paid comparable to other companies, or do they take kind of maybe a pay cut for the quality of work environment there?
Okay. In terms of the employee, they have two systems. The first is on work on the we call piece work rate. So it depends on how much, how many products you produce. If the worker produce more, then they receive more. So in that sense, it means above the average of in terms of minimum wage rate. But they have another group which is very small, only about 20% of the employee who receive a kind of daily wages. But Siam Hand pay higher than the minimum wage rate. But it's only 20%, not the whole. But majority of the employee work under the system of piece work rate. So that is only 20%, but they pay higher. They receive higher wage. No question? Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for your kindly attention. But before we ending our talk, as I told you, as Professor Usha already mentioned, and as my plan, if you have time, I would like to invite Professor Joe Magnuson to lead us a meditation. Because of he is my good friend, and I would like to have an experience of meditation with you and him. Could you please start?
Thank you. So, I agreed to this, although I'm by far no expert on this practice. But to complete this event, I think it's important to understand that from the very origins of a Buddhist practice, it's always been a very practical model for day-to-day living, and at the very center of that is a mindfulness practice. And I think perhaps many of you have come across this because it's sort of all the rage right now. Mindfulness applied to just about everything from, crafting recipes to working in the corporate world. So at the center of a mindfulness practice is meditation, and of course that's a very significant aspect of this Buddhist tradition. And it's fairly simple. Some people call it just sitting. And so we're going to just give it a whirl for about 5 minutes. And the simplest way to do it is to just sit in your chair, put your things away, clear off your phones or tablets or whatever away from your lap. And if you would, just sit with your back straight and put your right hand palm up on your lap, and then your left hand on top of the right hand, palm up, and just gently touch your thumb together, your thumbs together. So it on your lap, something like this. So just sit in this position and focus on your breathing. And you can either do it with your eyes open or eyes closed, it doesn't matter. And the idea, as she's been talking about today, is that it's a focus on the mind, and the mind can get sort of tangled up and pretzeled up with all kinds of thoughts and garbage. So the idea of this exercise is to just let your thoughts sort of rise to the surface and float away like a cloud. nothing more. Don't try to push it away, don't try to latch on to it, but just let your thoughts arise and slip away. So we'll sit down and do this for about 5 minutes, okay? you probably experienced that talking about calming and stilling the mind is much easier said than done. Right? So, Usha, do you want to conclude?
Thank you very much, Joel and Dr. Wana Praikwang. That was so peaceful, isn't it? Meditation. It's hard to come back to what we are facing now. So, yes. I just wanted to say a quick note of thanks to Dr. Wana Praikwang. How do you say thank you in Thai? She gave not just one, not two, but 3 lectures since last evening. It's been inspirational, and we have much food for thought regarding business practices and how it affects personal life and going on to improving not just the business, but at a community and national level. Thank you so much. I also would like to thank Joel Magnuson for his wonderful presence here and helping this. We would like to hear from you more on more speeches. I would also like to thank the students here for your wonderful presence, intriguing questions, and the 2 professors, Maria Stevens and Maria Wilson and Ava Stevens, International Studies and Business Communication. Thank you for working to bring your students here. I would also like to thank Dr. Lisa Avery, President of Sylvania Campus, for sponsoring the Little Theater to host this event. I would like to thank Dr. Kendra Cawley here, whose office is instrumental in bringing Fulbright Scholars to us. And James Hill, who was here earlier, Public Relations, for his coverage of the event. The PCC team of Jillian, Mike, Amanda, and Adrian, who are working here, who helped make it possible with everything that's happening today. Thank you. Also, I would like to thank Eric and Kevin, both on behind the video recorders, and for Chelsea, the 3 of them from Media Services, for because of them, we would be able to share this event with many others at PCC. And I would like to thank my colleagues, wonderful members of the Internationalization Committee. Many of them are here, who have worked, helped in many different ways to make this happen. I am not going to mention names, but they know who they are and in what capacity they have helped. Thank you all for your wonderful help, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.